sky and sun. Remember, friends, the world is one. We have met here to dream and build. We want our dreams to be fulfilled. We have come here to dream and plan a world of joy and hope for man. A world his dignity demands, a world that we shall see begun. Remember, friends, the world is one. Although we hail from different lands, we share one earth and sky and sun. Remember, friends, the world is one.
Voice of the people. And we not accept no unknown call on this program now. No unknown call. The voice of the people, right, good.
Well, Sion.
Let me, yeah. What was your agenda set today?
Okay, today is Tuesday, December 4th,
Yeah.
and our issues we're going to be looking at today will be, of course, be the budget. We'll look at noise nuisance, the rum shop,
Yeah.
rice, sugar, crime. We're looking at destitute situation, the bank interest rates that are on loans, the cost of living. These are what we are basically
Agenda
be
number
looking
30.
at.
Yes, good.
And also, we are now into the second day of the budget debate.
Debate.
A lot of fire and brimstone.
Okay. We're touching the budget. What do you think about talking about budget?
Well, the budget is really it's a lightning stone right now for a
Yeah.
lot of discussion and debate. And there are two opposing sides. The APNU AFC side is saying that it's a people's budget, and PPPC saying it's stoneless, it doesn't suit the times, and it doesn't hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
And Orphan Ali has been very vehement in Parliament yesterday, and until he was discovered lying on some facts. But be so as it may, the budget debate is very spirited, and for the rest of the week we can expect a lot of discourse, a lot of. In fact, this morning when I was coming here, Frank Anthony was on the floor,
Yes,
and
yeah.
he was very, very, very thundering.
Yeah.
It seems that he is now reasoning with passion.
Yeah.
I think possibly he's thinking in terms of becoming the presidential candidate for PPPC.
Who?
Frank Anthony.
Oh, okay.
He sounds like it.
Okay, that's not
Yeah.
bad.
The new town clerk. Very soon the city council will have to get a new town clerk. I'm hoping that this new town clerk will have legal qualifications, will have management experience, and will have a people attitude. You understand? And ought to be very credible. I don't know where they'll find that person from, but we need a new town clerk very soon. And of course, Exxon is exceeding itself, and we're now into our 10th oil discovery. And they're saying now we have about 5 billion barrels of oil to look out for. I'm hoping that social justice can be had also with this newfound wealth, because our people at the low end of the scale need a lot of justice, social justice, economic justice. All right?
First of all, we want to touch the low cost of living, right? Cost of living going up now.
The cost of living going up, earning power going down, despite the fact that people are getting, increases in wages, inflation is on the rise. I think our government and our opposition parties have got to find a way to sit down at the table together and look out for the interests of all Guyanese regardless. I know the political divide is huge, but at some point they got to put Guyana first and know that the needs of Guyana are paramount. And even though our friend Ali is in court along with some other people from the PPPC, they've got to all humble themselves, put their egos in check, and realize that they were all put in there as leaders to make sure our people, the Guyanese people, can survive and even succeed in what we set out to do. What's happening, Jenna? You're back from England.
We want to touch on rice industry and sugar.
Yeah.
There's the things we want to touch. Jenna, welcome to the program again. Where you went to Barbies?
How was your trip?
Barbados.
I went to the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Oh, the Caribbean.
It was very
What he was doing down there?
Very interesting.
What was the interesting thing we talk about? Let me hear some of the interesting things we talk about.
Well, the interesting thing is that they closed down
Who closed what?
they closed down the refinery in
Okay.
Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Finally closed it down.
Why?
Well, because it was just like what they did here with sugar.
Yeah.
They didn't pay much attention to it.
Yeah.
And so what happened is that they were paying more money to run it than getting profits.
Okay.
Oil,
And you know as a
No.
business, no,
Sugar, sugar,
no,
sugar.
no, the refinery
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Petrotrin.
yeah.
But the Trinidadian governments have messed up both sugar and oil. And my concern is that the opposition leader came here to tell us how to run our economy.
And what to look out for, the pitfalls
No, well, the trouble is that she was the head of that government.
Yeah.
at the time.
And she didn't take the advice of experts that are coming here. So we need the advice of Trinidadian experts,
Okay.
which we welcome. We welcome anybody who comes here with a good heart
Okay.
to give us advice, to give us help,
Okay.
to give us support. But we don't welcome people who want to continue the exploitation of our resources
Okay.
one way or the other. And there are some of them.
Okay. Tell us a little about
Okay.
Vala apology.
Now, it's not an apology that she needs
Oh,
to give us.
yeah.
She said she was not going to apologize to the nation, but then she finally did.
Yeah. Why she did?
She did it because, let
Because of what?
me get into the history of that.
Yes. Yes.
Remember, and Leon will help me with this, because I wasn't here.
Okay.
She was speaking to the base, just like how Trump speaks to the base.
Yes.
She was speaking to the base in a context in the region, was it region 6 or region 4?
Region 4.
The party regional meeting she was speaking
Region 4.
at.
Yeah.
And that is where she made those bold statements. She's never denied that she didn't say that. But the reason why she said that, there were internecine war in the PNC. And she
What kind of
wants
war are you talking about?
internal war, there,
Yeah.
just like the PPP got wars.
Okay.
But
So both sides of war?
Yes, yes. But this war had spilled over now.
Okay. Okay.
This war has spilled over. Because
Yeah,
remember,
yeah, yes.
going back a little bit to the history,
Yes.
she, Basil Williams, and Mr. Harman, they stood as chairman of the PNC, and she won them.
Yes.
If Mr. Williams didn't stand, Waldo would have get landslide,
Okay.
right? Should have beat Mr. Harman badly.
Okay.
But Mr. Harman has come out with a statement
Yeah.
when he spoke at the public service graduation. You know, the college that graduated those people who are going to work in the civil service. He made a very important
Yeah.
statement, which I agree with,
Yeah.
and I support him. That we have to get rid of this party paramountcy. That is an ideology that comes from both the PPP
Yeah.
and the PNC, this
Yeah.
ideology.
Yeah.
And what we need to do is to establish
Yeah.
an open system
Yeah.
where our civil servants
Yes.
and people who we employ,
Yeah.
just like yourself, you employ somebody,
Yeah.
you want
Yes.
them to do that work that you
Yes.
want them to do.
Yes.
Not to, and so therefore, you want a competent person.
Yeah.
The Guyanese people want competent people. When they go to an office, a government office, they must be properly served.
Yeah.
Courtesy, politeness,
Yeah.
efficiency. That's all they want. The Guyanese people want that. Any office in the government
Okay.
that they go to, Mr. Sharma, and they call on the telephone, it must be answered courteously, responded properly.
Okay.
When you send an email, they must respond to it
Oh.
promptly to say, if they can't give you an answer, I acknowledge your email.
Okay.
Those are the things that the president wants to put in place.
Coming back, touching on that
Yeah.
Petrotrin situation,
I think
oil
I saw Mr.
refinery.
I'm going down
Yeah, he's
there.
out there. Oil refinery.
Oh, please tell coming.
Mr. Rennis Morian,
Yeah, yeah.
chairman of Region
Yeah.
10, is saying
Okay,
that
okay.
he's very upset a little bit
Yeah.
because the government has not heeded the visit of these people who want to set up an oil refinery in Region 10, in Linden. Some Ghanaian and some other Americans and some people
Mr.
from
Welcome
Texas.
welcome to and for please.
Thank you.
Advise the people. Okay.
The point about that,
Yeah, yes.
Leon, you have to be very
Yeah,
careful.
yes.
Because when you introduce people, and Mr. Green, how you do, will understand, will know this better than us because he was in government, he was a minister. You have to do due diligence. The people who want to come to to invest into your country.
Right.
You have to do that, and that has not been done.
Okay.
So we don't know as yet what is the motive of Mr. Muriel. So we have to wait and see what is going on. We don't know the details.
Yeah.
Here in this program, if you don't know the facts, you haven't got the
Yeah,
evidence.
that's
you
right.
always say, Mr.
Yeah.
Sharma,
Yeah.
we have to stay quiet and wait until
Okay.
we get that evidence. So that's the situation.
Okay, Mr. Green is on our agenda for today. Look at the agenda. Look at it before you start in. Yeah.
So before
Let's hear from the people.
Okay.
Before
Okay.
Mr. Green comes in,
Yeah.
I wanted to continue that discussion on Barbara Lawrence. So I believe she genuinely made a mistake because she was talking to an
Yeah.
internal audience.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is that there are people within that
Yes.
audience who
Yes.
didn't like what
Yeah.
you were saying or want to create mischief.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
send the tape
Yeah.
out. So that's how we know about that.
Well, I'm glad she has apologized, even though 8 days or so afterwards. It shows that she has a certain amount of humility. She's not bringing her ego in check. But more than that, as a leader, she realizes that you can make mistake and you can humble yourself and say, I'm sorry.
Don't mistake the beef stick.
There's a beef steak.
Yeah, beef stick.
But
Beef stick.
beyond, it's
You want-
much
Yeah.
more fundamental than that.
What's that?
What she gonna do is to have a program so that she can include all the people that matters in this coalition. The coalition has lots of partners, so you have to be seen to be involved in.
That's right.
Like Mr. Sharma.
Yeah.
You got to involve Mr. Sharma because he's part and parcel of this coalition. This coalition didn't arise suddenly.
So,
It came out as a result of people like Mr. Sharma and his party and his wife, who we don't call her name regularly, but she, Savitri, Mrs. Sharma, who played an important
She was general
role.
secretary for
Yeah.
my party.
She played an
Yeah,
important
yeah,
role in
yes.
the anti-DPP, anti-Jagdeo
Yeah, yeah.
dictatorship.
Yes.
And these people's name cannot be, you can't marginalize them.
Okay.
You have to call them round the table and have a regular meetings with them and hear what they have to say.
so why aren't they doing that?
When the last we have meeting? When the last we have
We
meeting?
don't have any meetings. We were part of the rice farmers and part of the coalition. On the council, we were never invited to no meetings. So that is why 60% of the people say we're not going to go to the polls. That's a very significant.
Okay.
You call it the Stay Away Party, SAP.
Okay.
That's a new party.
Okay.
It was-
Mr. Green, what your position with Vala speech?
First of all, the whole thing was
Yeah.
a storm in a teacup.
Okay.
Secondly, there's an old statement going back centuries.
Yes.
A slip of the tongue is no fault of the mind.
Okay.
Or
Third,
loose lips can
this-
sink ships.
This was an in-house meeting,
Okay.
and we all know in the height, in the euphoria of party meetings, church meetings, that people say things directed to a particular audience to placate them.
Yes.
In the case, the people were talking, the PNC people not getting work, and so her remarks weren't as reported in the media.
Yes.
Valda Lawrence is a responsible person. I
Yeah,
know her
yeah,
very well.
yes.
And that statement does not
Reflect her.
refer to government policy nor the party's position.
Yes.
In fact, it's the opposite. My concern is that people like Barra Jagdeo and the PP dared to criticize her
Yeah.
when they practice naked, unpolished
Yes.
Discrimination.
racism and discrimination.
Yep.
The Burbis Bridge, they put their people there with 10% and 90%.
Yes.
Pradoville is only one set of people got
Yeah.
houses
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
GPC,
Yeah.
and I can give you over 100 examples
Yes.
of where
The
the PP
the- The
practice
diplomatic corps, foreign
the
ministry.
diplomatic corps,
Okay.
practice nepotism.
Yes.
I have an instance when I went to New York shortly after PP got office. They excised from the staff people based on their names.
Yes.
The minister just took off. Green, out. John, out. Prasad can stay. And when the particular minister visited the office,
Yes.
he saw a certain Afro-Guyanese. I'll call her name just now.
Yes.
Of course.
And he said, what you doing here?
Yeah.
It was Mistress Singh,
Yeah.
but she was black, her husband was Indian, a former minister of government, David
Yes.
Singh.
Yes.
So she was kept on because of her name,
Okay.
not because of her appearance or her political career.
Okay.
Right now, at the highest office of the president, the coalition with people like Honorable Vala Lawrence have been extremely kind. In fact, I say too kind.
Okay.
At the highest level, you still have drivers employed by the PPP,
Yes.
still working at the office of the president.
Okay.
I can give other examples.
Okay.
So that, as I said, this whole thing is a storm in a teacup.
Okay.
It's unfortunate the press had to make it into something that it
Yeah.
was not.
Okay.
It's like if you and your wife discussing something,
In
and
the bedroom.
neighbor hears it
Yeah.
and makes it an
Yeah.
issue.
Yes.
What you say to your wife
Okay.
or your children, it may be a passing remark, and it's not something that
public
the fact that she
consumption.
apologized shows that she's gracious
Okay.
and she's cognizant
Okay.
of the fuss that
Yes.
is being made over
Yeah.
it. But this is a lady who has not practiced
Yeah.
discrimination,
Yes.
and she's part of a
Yeah.
group that
Yeah.
is against that kind of
Yeah.
vulgarity.
Okay. What is it when we have new me now? What do you think about that? What is your view on that?
I spoke with a young man.
Okay. Okay.
He has potential.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of work to do.
Yes.
Our first conversation suggests that he's anxious to get on.
Yes.
He is humble because he's willing to come and see people like
Yes.
myself.
Yes.
There's nothing in this world like
Yes.
experience.
Yes.
And I hope
Yes.
for
Yes.
his sake, for the city's sake,
Ye-
that he's not
yes.
encumbered and burdened by some of their own beliefs and some of the old people
Okay.
who have given us a lot of trouble.
But
over
thank
the
you for
years.
calling, right? Bye. Yeah. Yes. Go ahead.
So I wish him well, he and the deputy, and I look forward to them transforming the city now that they have a government that is not hostile to them. When I was mayor, we had worries,
Hostility.
Yes.
Hostility.
Yes. Yes.
never allowed us to
Yes.
function.
Yes. Yes.
But this mayor can't do it
Yes.
alone. He has to get the participation of the citizens
Yeah,
with him.
yes.
That's what I said.
Too many citizens are very apathetic, meaning hands
yeah,
off,
yeah.
and they're saying, let the council do it. No, in each community, people have got to form themselves into brigades, self-help brigades, community brigades,
Yes.
because after all, it's their interests,
Yes.
those communities are their interests.
But Leon, right what you say, I agree with you. I said before Mr. Green came that we need to have inclusive government.
Yes.
It's not going to happen.
Yes.
We have to take, and this is where I'm looking at,
Yes.
people are looking at Baldy. She genuinely what she said, people accept that, to see how she's going to implement
Okay.
this inclusive
Okay.
policy by
Okay.
by ordering. She did order the ministers. She said it, that was the word she used. I like that word. Order the ministers to go outside there and do the work. Come to the programs like this or have programs at NCN where they can be questioned if they have nothing to hide, explain the government policies, explain what they're doing, explain why they're not doing what people are questioning about, so they have nothing to hide. Not only in Parliament. Parliament is not televised, Mr. Sharma.
Okay.
Mr. Trotman, when he became Speaker, that was one of the things he said that he was going to do, so that the people can hear inside their houses what our elected
But let me tell you
representatives are
this.
saying.
Let me tell you this. I saw that. I was on the live
Yeah.
program. I was in live program. I was in
Live
live program.
And debates.
He was the pioneer of that.
Pioneer.
Debates are in
Yeah, yes.
debates are in the radio as far as I know.
Yeah.
I've heard them.
Yeah.
But on television.
I don't know.
Oh, no, so now we got all the lot of light now. Come, we can get it now.
Was that?
Oil. Yeah, oil.
Well, oil globally is a complex issue.
Okay.
And I could not pontificate on a matter
Yes.
where I lack the experience and the competence.
Yes.
Oil is new in this country. We discovered yesterday that they've
Not
got
all discover.
a new well,
That's right.
and they're going to something like 750,000 barrels per day.
Yes. What?
Yes.
Production.
That's fantastic. The question is, and I believe that the president has put oil under his wings, whether we can find ways to optimize the oil revenues. We have said in this program, we criticized certain people who said give people $500,000.
Okay.
That is not the answer.
That's
And
Okay.
in my letter, I developed 7 themes, and that is what the oil money should be used to.
Yes.
And more importantly,
Yes.
I would make a plea not to make the mistakes of Venezuela and Trinidad and ignore the
Yeah,
agricultural
yeah.
sector.
And ignore what?
Yeah.
The agricultural sector.
Yeah.
I said that before you came, but
Okay.
they asked me, but that's very true what you
Yes.
said there. But in addition to that, Mr. Green, if Mr. Sharma can allow me, for me, the price doesn't matter what the price may be. What would be important is if we can refine at least a percentage of our oil here, which for local consumption. What that will mean is that it will drop the cost of what we're paying now in the pump. And it will also have a dramatic effect on our production processes, so that the cost of living will go up
Okay.
dramatically because people have more money in
Okay.
their pockets and it will go around.
Yeah, also one.
I
Yeah.
think on refinery, we should
Yes.
walk carefully and get the
Yeah,
experts.
yeah,
Refining oil is a very expensive matter.
yeah. Okay.
The capital investment is high. And at the end of the day, we don't have the skills for refinery.
Okay.
And you've got to rely on those people with those skills. It's easy to say, let's have a refinery.
Yeah.
That is
Question.
not the answer.
With CARICOM in place and CSMA on the books, Trinidad just got a oil refinery that is being shuttered. Can't we work out a deal where we can refine our oil in Trinidad?
Well, that is I didn't mention Trinidad, but Trinidad has had oil for a long time.
100 years.
The fact that they are closing down refinery tells us something.
That's
No,
right.
but the oil is running out over there.
No,
No, it's
it's
not.
that the whole process was uneconomical, and the government can no longer subsidize it.
Okay.
But Mr. Green,
So we have to work. I don't think any of us in this room, with the greatest respect, are competent to deal with a refinery issue.
Okay.
no, but Mr. Green,
I don't think my friend to my right has the
I have
experience,
seen
nor the knowledge.
Mr. Green, Saturday we'll invite Dr. Durga to talk about this. But I have seen the video about the difference between a modular refinery and the one that they have in Trinidad. Before you came, you were talking about that. The one in Trinidad is too expensive at this time, and they're not producing the amount of oil to supply. That is the problem they have.
Who prepared,
We would
who
not-
prepared that
Okay,
video?
Okay.
It was prepared by people who want to invest in the refinery.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the point is that you can Google it and you can ask any expert. I have done the research, calling people, friends who I know, especially people. I was in Trinidad recently, so I was able to do some research.
Why is
find
it
some
that
people.
even with the announcement of
Yeah,
more
yes.
oil, people aren't really happy
Yeah.
and ecstatic and throwing up their hands in the air? Why?
Because they haven't got an experience. People operate on the basis of an experience.
Okay.
More people, they are tired
Okay.
of politicians telling them things.
Okay.
And they don't no longer believe in
Okay, let me change
politicians.
our topic. Let me talk about bank interest rate in the bank. Very important interest rate in the bank. Very high interest rate.
Well, I think we're all concerned
Yeah,
about the Scotia Republic Bank.
Yes.
And again, the experts will deal with it because it's an involved issue. And whether it is something that will help Guyana as a country, we must get, again, the banking experts.
Yes.
Too many of us make statements based on one side of the story. I've always said a story has three sides: your side, my side, and the
Oh.
third side, which we seldom
Oh,
hear.
yes.
And that's the human problem.
Yes.
It is being said that the bank, Scotia Bank, local banks could have tried to pick it up, GBTI or Citizens Bank, or which is the other local bank we've got. They're saying that Republic Bank will become too much of a big monster, too big to fail.
Darama Bank, yeah.
And it's going to become like a commodity.
Yeah.
And it will jeopardize Guyana's financial situation. Because,
Monopoly.
yeah, it could become a monopoly. I personally feel that
Okay.
we need a black bank.
Okay.
And I heard ABR, the African Business Roundtable, had proposed
Let
setting
me
up a
give
bank.
some calls. The problem is advising people. Call you. Hello? You're on here. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Sharma.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
To you and your panel.
Yes.
I love what Mr. Green just said there,
Yes.
that he appreciate the new mayor.
Okay.
And the new mayor should keep in contact with Mr. Green because Mr. Green has
Experience.
lots of experience.
That's right.
And experience is wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
Okay.
All you got to do is take advice. Because remember, he does not have what we call experience.
Okay.
So, Mr. Green, I salute you that you have decided to give any sort of assistance to
Yes.
this new mayor. So God bless you.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Yeah. Lived out with destitute in the street, destitute, penny in the street, destitute, beggars in the street now. They're very, very important issues. It's a burning issues we want to talk about.
Years ago,
Yes,
when I held the portfolio of health, housing, and labor,
yes,
we did an in-depth examination of those persons we deemed to be beggars.
okay,
And several things came out, several themes came out. One,
Yeah.
some of them had problems with their families, and they were, in fact, psychiatric cases.
okay,
Two, some people beg, and this happened 3-4 generations ago,
okay,
professionally. I grew up in our boys' town. I knew people who begged and then used the money quite wisely to educate their children. You have another group that are they're just lost in the mire of frustration.
okay,
So unless we do a new examination of what the beggars are like,
okay,
as a young man, only one type of persons you found in the road begging. I was at this street lighting the other night, and a lady came to me with all sorts of stories that she had medical problems,
okay,
and then she was therefore begging.
okay,
And I expect that the ministry will do an examination and see what can be done.
Well, it's one area where some oil revenues can be placed into. It is said that a country that looks after the lowest of the low and the people who fall through the cracks, the greatness of that country is
Okay.
measured by that. Now, there's a Hugo Chavez place up at Fort Wellington that was set up to
Yeah.
help take some of these people off
Call
the
you in.
road.
Hello?
Mr. Sharma,
Yes,
talking about the destitutes, right?
yes,
People on the road. Some of them are wicked.
yes,
Now, the previous government, also this government, had
Yeah.
places that they could go. They used to have buses picking them up and so on. Some of these destitutes, Mr. Sharma, doesn't need that. They need to get money just to drink, some need to smoke. So it's not that this government or the previous government never did anything.
okay,
They tried with them.
yeah,
And I can tell you,
Okay.
some of them definitely don't need because they have timings. For instance, help and shelter.
Okay.
You got to go in there for 6 o'clock. And if you want to leave, you leave 6 o'clock in the morning. Some of them, 6 o'clock is too early. So it's really, as you know, it's not
Yeah.
nobody to be blamed except the government because
Yeah.
at least the government makes, a provider
Yeah, yes.
for them. They have
Okay.
homes, they have
Oh,
places.
okay.
And look, I see people park with cars and so on and give them whatever they have to give them, like porridge, this, that, the thorough. So they know if they done the road,
Okay.
people will bring these things. So
Okay.
there's no need for them to go. All they
Okay.
need is drugs,
okay,
rum,
yeah,
smokes, blah,
Okay.
blah, etc.,
Okay.
and they walk the road all
Okay.
day. Well, I can say
Yeah.
that if the government should put
Yeah.
to clean up
Yeah.
clean up it.
yeah,
I hope this
Yeah.
mayor does it.
yes,
A compulsory cleanup.
okay,
Pick them up.
okay,
They're not locking them up. You
Okay.
pick them up and make sure they're
Oh.
off the street. Because look, for instance, Regent Street. When you pass there in the night, oh
Yeah.
my God, it's dirty. The boxes throw the same boxes. The people give them the food to eat. They throw along. Something has to be
Okay.
done. This mayor, this new mayor. That's why I was saying earlier.
Okay.
It's good that he could, look into these things because
Okay.
these little things that can cause chaos.
okay,
You understand what I'm saying?
okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
Basically, what you with the pensioners now? We are pension. You got pay my pension. You got pension. You got pension. He's bound on pension now.
No, I'm not a
Oh
pensioner.
no, you're gone, but you're
I'll
gone.
become a pensioner next year.
Next year.
He-
What do you do with the
he
pension now?
doesn't
Sit
get any
here.
money.
How much money pensions you get now? 1,000 each more?
20,000.
Well,
No.
you know,
They've been raised by 1,000.
1,000. Why just 1,000?
the government has increased pensions by over 20% since
Yeah.
it came in office.
Yes,
And they're moving slowly, as the economy allows it,
yes,
to increase pensions. In fact, the phenomenon we noticed when the pensions were increased last year,
yes,
a lot of people who are clearly in the upper bracket
yes.
began to register to collect pensions
Yeah.
because there's no criteria
Yes,
for old age pension.
that's right.
The millionaires can
Can
apply,
apply.
and we found some of them doing just that because the increase made it, open inverted commas, attractive to to even those who are wealthy.
Okay.
And I don't know what the government is going to do about that.
Okay. Mr. Green, I want the building society money, the building society. What the interest rate is paid, building society, interest rate?
New business?
No. Yeah.
New business society?
Building society.
What are they doing?
Interest rate.
They raise interest rate.
Raise interest rate. You know what you know about that.
That
Was a part wrong there with
that's a matter whether the government has the authority and the power
it. Okay.
to control that. It's,
Okay.
it's a private company, and I don't know enough of the law.
It's not a private company, Mr. Green.
Hmm?
It's not a private
New
company.
Building Society?
No.
What is
The
it?
New Building Society is governed by a law, an act of parliament, and they have membership. So if you have an account there, automatically you're a member. Here's what has happened, Mr.
No, but
Chairman.
isn't it a private company, basically?
It is not a private
So
company.
what it is then?
Shareholders.
If it's an entity that is governed by the laws of Guyana, it's governed by certain regulation.
The laws cover everything.
And it's like a co-op.
Where's a
Please.
private company or
Yeah,
corporate
yeah,
entity?
yes.
Laws govern. My understanding,
Mhm.
and tell me if I'm wrong, is it's a private company, basically a private company.
It is
Like-
not a private company.
What it is then?
Because Mr. Sharma has a private company. Nobody can buy shares in this company. That's a private company. This New Building Society, anybody that goes and opens an account automatically becomes a member. So it is not, it's like a co-op.
But that's a private company.
It is a private.
If John
it is-
Jones, a member of the
it is a-
public,
It is a private entity.
Let somebody
Look,
call it and
look,
tell
look,
us.
Look,
Okay.
look, Mr. Sharma, look.
Yes.
We have three sectors. We
Okay.
have the public sector, we have the private
Okay.
sector, we have the cooperative sector.
Okay.
so
I
what
mean,
is?
you know that.
So what's
It
in
is
this?
a corporate, it
Okay,
comes
okay, whoa.
under that law.
Ram, please hold on. Let's get a man public. Call it. Hello?
Mr. Samo,
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
If you become a leader,
I don't want to become a leader. I go now.
You already
if
leader.
you become a president,
Yes.
would you give the people at 55 years of age, or like me,
Yeah.
pension at 55? Because some out there going now, people living to 65.
That's right. That's true. I always say it's true. That's true. That's
Would
true.
you, in your manifesto,
Yes.
say, well, people 55 years could get old age pension?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did say that. I did say that. I did say that.
55.
I did say that, yes.
He said 55, not 65.
55.
He said
Yeah.
55.
55. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people living in 60, or 65. Oh my God.
See what manifest said it down there.
It
See,
says pensioners.
Yeah, pensioners.
Unfair treatment of pensioners.
pensioners
Must be addressed.
must be addressed. That's
They
right.
need to have a living.
Thank you very much.
They need to have a living,
Yeah,
they
wage.
need to have a basic living
Wage,
wage
that's right.
and free medical attention
Yeah.
from age 60.
That's what Joshua
From
Party
age
said.
60, 60
That we stand for.
Yeah, 60, not 50.
Hello? Hello? Good. This is what we stand for. See, we got everything in the manifest, right in
60, 60.
10 years ago, manifest.
No,
I
15 years.
15. Hello? Hello?
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yes.
Welcome back, Mr. Rahman.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much.
Mr. Green,
Sir.
good afternoon to you too. I wish you was there Saturday. We have a shadow minister who's not a minister that continued to plague this program and continue to lambast the present administration, but said shit about the previous one at all because he didn't have a voice. He didn't know the voice of the people when exist then. However, he was saying that because the Minister of Finance said in the budget that he put in some more money so that the minister in that ministry could get medication. Mr. Green, you was a prime minister, you was holding the office of the president, and you know for a
Minister of
fact,
Health, right?
always
Yeah, Minister of Health too, yes.
always have problem with medication, and we know why. We're giving free medication, not given to them, but the citizen can come at our door anytime. People from all across the different globe can come and get free medication and looked after at our hospital. However, don't worry with it too much. Just listen to this nonsense though that he said.
Okay.
Right when Jaipal Sharma was there, Minister Sharma. He said that they did not vote living over the West Coast because he living in party, Tamil party, got all in speed, bump, 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 bump. But he said that Irfan Ali gave the scheme out. he said it's under the previous administration out. I'm not lambasting any party right
Okay,
now
okay,
administration.
yes.
I'm just saying on a Guyanese point of view. This idiot called this station every single time it's on the program to lambaste this administration, not the previous one,
Okay.
but he gets bouncy roads from the past administration. And he said, Uncle, right, when Sharma was sitting right, and Jaipa was sitting right where you were sitting, Mr. Green, this idiot then said that he did not
No.
vote.
The problem is the fossil people.
The whole,
Yes.
the road that the guy passed, it's Harmony,
yeah.
got a hole and all kind of thing. He didn't vote. But then after he said too, that PVP win 70-something% of the vote.
Okay.
This idiot concessor, but he
Okay.
actually didn't see that 3/4 of the nation didn't vote.
Okay.
This person, Sham, I finished it.
Yes.
I got talked about your side. I don't know you should actually do a hard test.
Yes.
That I feel from the news yesterday.
Yes.
The guy will close your station down, will send the person who I tell you I don't want to see on this program every Thursday.
Yeah. Who the person?
You know the person more than me, man. Watch out through the window. You'll see right over there.
Okay.
You think he get heart attack or
Oh,
something, but
okay.
he getting more highly now.
Okay.
That Guyana getting more
Oh,
highly,
okay.
like Isle of Ole.
Yes.
The amount of money that he actually start calculating in his brain, I start rolling, right? But the other part about it, he has some persons that is criminal inside his party. He has some
Don't mention the criminal. Please don't mention the criminal.
Alleged.
Yeah,
alleged
alleged.
anybody name, but the former minister,
Oh,
so
okay.
I got mention the name.
Okay.
That does know the
Okay.
He gave the man a private land. This is NCR land. Were you here from the last time?
Yes, I heard about that. I heard about that.
Yes.
I don't need the facts on that.
Your son said that right on the program. The law belongs to the present administration.
Okay.
Doesn't matter where it's NCL
Okay.
land. He gave out, and even I've heard that the DPP actually recused herself from the matter.
Yes,
And
that's
kudos
true.
to her.
That's true.
She is involved in that matter.
Yeah.
And what she should do is ask back the same criminal person for her money back.
Okay.
And she's supposed to give it to
Okay.
him. He's supposed to sell it because
Okay.
of the criminal act.
Okay. Thank you very much.
This matter actually
Yes.
so vehement and actually got coolie people and black people and stupid, ignorant, on illiterate people that keep talking on this program, on social media and all over. This man has said that the government right now from 2015 to 2018 used $1 billion on monies, the public monies for doing the president's work. $1 billion. He can't count this $212 million.
Okay.
212 could not be 1 billion.
Okay.
How can he not say that he gave a former president and all of his colleagues billions of dollars and not accounted for it?
Okay.
How could he not say that?
Okay.
And he's saying this now in Parliament,
Okay.
which these idiots who are watching,
Okay.
our next idiot who will get raped in Parliament,
Yeah.
when she goes on, videoing it,
Okay.
show them that he's saying
Yes.
that the government spent
Okay.
$1 billion when only papers is there to show,
Okay.
because they hiding papers, but papers is there to show.
Yes.
$212
Okay.
million was spent
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the government from 2015.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Network.
Yes.
That's $1 billion.
Yes. Thank you very
When
much.
people call into the program, let us talk about Guyanese citizens, because these people who put
Okay.
in, we against black people and
Okay.
police people,
Yeah.
they ain't doing nothing for the country.
Okay.
They ain't doing nothing for we. They ain't giving
Okay.
we no money, but coolie people fighting with coolie people,
Okay.
thinking that they might get a raise from Jaggy or not.
Okay.
Right? But those persons only got
Yeah,
a
yeah.
few people in their bracket
Yes.
who own the Burbage Bridge, one is friend. You see who actually
Yes,
get part of Mario?
yes.
One is friend.
Yeah.
These people don't look after these people like me, you that put the foot. These people actually put in we for fight against one another, right? And the idiots who's uneducated continue lambasting other Guyanese like themselves.
Yeah.
Who wants to see the leaders that we've elected
Okay.
to do what we need
Okay.
them to do for us, because it's we putting them there.
Thank you very much.
We're representatives,
Yeah.
right? But they're not representing us.
Okay.
They're chiefing
Oh, thank you very much.
And as like our shadow minister always called to lambast me,
Okay.
let him know that he should continue to call because I would love to hear his voice. Once more, Jaipal Sharma has an office where anybody can go and visit from Monday to Friday between 8 and 5.
Okay.
At the Ministry of Finance. So the shadow minister who's not elected but selected with the bumpy road, he could go over to Sharma because I would like to see him too.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Graham, some of your comment. Mark, we have a long speech. Yes.
He should come on the panel.
Yes. Yes.
He's on target,
Yes.
a little loquacious, but
Loquacious.
Yeah.
he's on target,
Okay.
and there's nothing more to add to what he
Okay.
said.
Let me look at the rice industry now. Rahman next. Yeah.
Mr. Sharma,
Yeah.
if we don't do anything,
What about agriculture then? Agriculture in the whole.
agriculture in general,
Cover everything.
I've said it so many times.
Yes.
I hope now that the local government election
Yes.
is over and we have had all the results in, which has proven that the minister belonging to that political party, the AFC, that we can do something now to actually relieve the farmers and get somebody proper there to actually manage that ministry. It is the biggest ministry, the biggest section in the country that
Yeah.
employs the largest section of people who are, a lot of them are self-employed. The rice industry employs people who are self-employed, and they have people who are employed by agencies of the government. But the important thing is this, is that if we don't take care of our rice farmers and our farmers in general,
Yes.
we are not going to stand another chance to implement those
Okay.
policies and programs.
Okay.
There's a lot of good policies and programs, Mr. Sharma, that we are not talking about that we
Okay.
have implemented. One of them is this.
Yeah.
The local government election. Remember, we didn't have local government election for 20 years. It was this government that allowed the people the opportunity to vote at the local level, at its lowest level. You can't have better democracy than that, forms of democracy. So that's another very important, and we need to drill it into people's ear. Because Jagdeep keep boasting about he get massive victory at the local government election. The problem is that he prevented people from exercising that franchise. It's an important franchise.
How you know that? How you know that?
How do I know it?
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't, your party didn't go to the polls.
Okay.
But if you had said from this
Yeah,
podium,
yeah.
if you were back here,
Yeah.
and you had said from this podium here, that all those candidates who want to stand in the local government election, I am going to back them, you will have had a lot of people standing for Justice for All Party. I'm sure about
Okay.
it, right? Because I tested it on the ground.
Okay.
That's the first point. The
Yeah,
second point is
okay.
this, you asked about rice
Okay.
and agriculture. Mr. Green made a point, very important point, and I hope that come the next manifesto that this oil that is coming, that a significant amount of that oil money is poured into agriculture. Because we don't want, as he quite rightly said, what happened to Trinidad and what's happened to
Okay.
Venezuela.
What am I saying? Agriculture, just
Your
right party.
manifesto,
Agriculture.
yes,
My
your-
manifesto.
And you should call upon the government to implement your policy, which is,
Yeah.
it says this, more importance has to be given to this sector, that's agriculture.
Yes.
And it goes on further to say, Guyana needs a vibrant agriculture
Yeah.
industry.
Yes.
You should say ministry,
Yes.
you know, which caters not only for the local market,
Okay.
but also the export
Okay.
market. Low interest loans
Okay.
must be granted
Okay.
to farmers, both traditional and non-traditional.
Can you what
Along-
is about housing?
Yeah.
What is about housing?
I'll come to that, but could I
Yeah,
make
yes,
one
yeah,
comment on
yes,
this? One
yes.
comment on this. I am saying, and I've repeated on this program many times, and it's in the manifesto of this government, that the re-establishment of the Agricultural and Industrial Bank has to be the cornerstone of any agricultural policy, not setting up
Okay.
some kind of a small business grant, which I don't know if Mr. Green or you, any one of you see the application. It's shameful.
Okay.
for ordinary
Okay.
people to get loan. You just talked about the
Yeah.
bank, Mr.
Yeah.
Sharma.
Yes.
You just talked about the bank, the
Yeah.
interest rate has
Yeah.
gone up.
Gone up, that's right.
Now, good. How are we going to, how ordinary people in this
It's all
country
right.
can borrow money to set up any business?
Business, that's
Not
true.
only agriculture, any business.
Any business,
If
any
they
business.
don't have finance.
Yeah.
Where do you get it from? Mr. Barnum was very clever. You know what he did that nobody else did? He set up the Agricultural Industrial
Okay.
Bank. And you talk to
Okay.
anybody who work with that bank or who
Okay.
benefit from that bank, and they will tell you,
Okay.
it's a perfect example
Okay.
of a man who
All right,
was
okay.
interested in
Mr.
agriculture.
Green, what about the agriculture sector now?
Well, at the General Council meeting
Yes.
on Saturday,
Yes.
I made the point that what this government need to do is to reintroduce the vision
Yeah.
and ideas that Falls
Okay.
Bottom had.
Yes.
People don't like me to say this, but he was our visionary for the century.
Okay.
And all you need to do is to make adjustments.
Yes, yes.
National service, feed, clothe, and house the nation, develop an ethic of eating what you produce.
Exactly, exactly.
That will take us forward
Yes.
because you can't eat oil, you can't
Yeah,
drink oil.
yes.
You've got to eat.
Yes.
And it's important that we do what the British did after the end of the Second World War, when they realized that they were nearly defeated when the U-boats surrounded Britain as an island,
Yeah.
and they had to rely on external help to get food. And the British government vowed, never again will the British people not be able to be self-sufficient in
Okay.
food. And so they set up institutions, set up systems, made massive concessions for farming,
Yeah.
and that is what we need to do
Okay.
in Guyana. That's what Burnham planned to do.
Okay.
Correct,
Okay.
correct, correct.
Let me talk about marijuana. Or the agriculture too. There's not
You
agriculture.
asked me about housing.
Hold on.
Yeah, marijuana.
Yeah.
The first thing about the marijuana issue
Yeah.
is that
Agriculture.
it's agricultural,
Okay,
but
yes.
the government
Go ahead,
is
yeah.
supposed to table a bill in
Yes,
Parliament
yes.
to decriminalize it.
Give-
and no
give
jail for
everybody-
small
see,
amounts.
give everybody
so,
see, yes.
so because that has not yet
Yeah,
been done,
yes.
it kind of hobbles you
Yeah.
and hobbles the youth from going into
Yeah.
the land, because once the birds plant herb,
Yeah.
they will plant food too. No,
Okay.
more than that. We have lost the opportunity to gain foreign exchange from rice and sugar in a great way. We need to substitute those products with something else. Hemp, which will be released from that shackles that marijuana put it under, would be a great plantation crop to deal with.
Exactly.
The market needs it. But more than that, marijuana is not just an economic issue, it's a human rights issue. And it's an issue that deals with the whole aspect of the climate change and a green environment.
Yeah.
Now, our president is going to Cuba today. I hope he makes it back and I hope he gets good
Yeah,
treatment,
yes,
chemotherapy.
very good.
Marijuana and its derivatives are good for cancer and the treatment of chemotherapy.
Okay.
And at some point, maybe our president will open up his eyes to the
Okay.
fact that even if he might not want to use it,
Okay.
it has applications in the health
Okay, you
field.
can recommend that to go.
Yeah. Now, but I want to come back to housing.
Okay. Let me talk about, no, let me go.
Let me read the manifesto.
That manifesto, the household, manifesto of housing.
Manifesto for housing.
Read the manifesto of housing. But
Housing.
30 years ago,
Low-
about 15 years ago,
Low-cost housing will
yeah.
be provided to meet the demand.
that's what I
of
said,
the
my
Guyanese society.
manifesto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me read back again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Low-cost housing will be provided to meet the demands of the Guyanese society. Land at reasonable cost will be made available.
Reasonable cost.
Yes.
Operative word.
Yes, yes. There's another one here. Housing. Persons born in Guyana and
Yeah,
in
that's right.
possession of a Guyanese
Yeah.
birth certificate are entitled
Entitled.
to a house lot.
Yeah, house
Yeah.
lot, that's
Free-
right, yeah.
free of
Free
cost.
house lot.
Free of cost.
Free of cost.
Yes, free of cost.
Here what's
Okay,
happening.
hold on. What we talk about firearm license now? You had a man who said firearm license.
Firearm license.
Say firearm license. Who is a firearm?
I haven't seen that here.
What about the firearm license? Who should get it and who should not?
That's right.
Yes, it's here.
Oh, yes,
it's
go
here.
ahead, all of it's in there.
Issue of firearm
Yeah.
license. Firearms should be issued to farmers
Yeah, that's right, you see.
and important businessmen in our community, villages, with over 1,000 persons to have guns.
Guns, yeah, shotguns, you haven't seen.
Shotguns, and
Yeah.
villagers
Yeah.
who are recommended
Yeah.
to be provided with the same
Yeah.
to protect the village against criminality.
Criminal.
Any of
Firearm. Right now in Guyana, a lot of people who should not have a firearm.
Has it?
Mr. Green,
Right.
15 years ago, 15 years ago, the man was said 15 years ago, 15 years ago. That's what I said, that's my vision.
For Guyana.
Yeah.
The issue of firearms
yeah.
and firearm lesson
Yes,
is a matter that has consumed millions of words all
Okay.
over the world.
okay,
Today, the Americans' ethic is the right to bear
bear
arms.
okay.
You've
Second
seen that
Amendment.
right prostituted, where young men
Over
go
and
into a place
Kill people.
and kill people. They go into a synagogue and shoot people because anybody can get a firearm.
Exactly.
It has to do with the environment in which we operate and the level of responsibility that you ensure exists for those people who are licensed
Okay.
firearm dealers. The world as it is, however,
Okay,
makes it so easy for people to get
Yeah.
guns
yes,
illegally and use it. So it's a question of control, whether police has the capacity to find all the unlicensed firearms. But I have faith in the new commissioner. He started off on a good
for the,
footing,
yeah,
and I think he will bring things
Okay.
back in order. You got to give him some time.
okay, okay.
But in Guyana, there are lots of business people who have been applying for firearm and can't get a firearm license, legitimate
Oh, hold
business
on,
people.
and then one reporter got shot, man shoot him in his foot, a reporter.
Policeman.
Travis
Oh,
Chase.
Travis Chase, yeah,
Oh, yes?
yes,
Yeah, well,
he got shot.
Where was that?
About a week,
Two
couple
nights or
days
3
ago,
nights ago.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He was acting in self-defense and in protecting his woman or something of that
What?
nature. Well, it is
Which
said
one?
in the media that he took his girlfriend
Oh, yeah,
home around
okay,
4
okay,
o'clock in the
okay.
morning.
Yes.
And there was a vagrant sleeping by the gate, and he asked him to move, and the vagrant began to pelt him with bottles.
Bottles.
It is said. And after some altercation, he fired off a warning shot in the air.
You got not in the warning shot,
Well, he said warning
Not
shot in
in
the
the
air,
warning
and then
shot.
pelt 3 more,
Oh, my God.
and the guy got hit in his, at the back of his
Oh,
thigh.
oh, not in the warning
So he
shot.
shot the guy?
Yeah, well, he was protecting himself and his
Okay, okay,
girlfriend,
I
and I think it was right that he should defend himself because, as a journalist, you don't know what kind of danger you face. Look at Khashoggi in Saudi Arabia, from Saudi Arabia, who get messed up in Turkey. Journalists and media, people in general, face a lot of
Harassment.
danger. Reporters Without Borders will tell you a lot of lost their
That-
lives
that is
along
true.
the way.
That is true.
The media, the fourth estate, is a dangerous estate.
Yeah.
You can lose your life easily.
Mr. Sharma, I
if you
want
talk
to
or
come
write the
back to
wrong
the
thing.
housing market.
Yes, let me talk about the housing now.
Because we're dealing with present situation.
Yes, yes.
You see, some people call in and say that I now turn pain. See, that's not true.
That you know what?
I have always defended.
No, I know you have people behind it.
No, no, but
There's a bad
I
people.
have always defended.
I know it's a bad PPP.
This is-
I dead people, for dead people.
That is true.
Born I dead
That is true. You know
picture,
why?
yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Borna was PPP
Yeah,
too.
so,
Mr. Burnham was PPP. He is one of the founders.
Original.
Mr. Burnham,
Original
for the
PPP.
record,
Yes.
was one of the founders of the PPP in
Okay.
1950. So if I am PPP, yes, I am PPP in terms of that program and policy. And both men tried to implement that original program and policy. You read Ashton Chase on 133 days. I gave a copy to my good friend, Mr. Oscar Clark.
okay.
That was a tear-up thing, but he put it together. And you will see that original program that you are now talking is PPP.
Yeah.
If that program was implemented in 1950,
Yes.
we wouldn't have been sitting here. We'd be probably sitting in a better studio.
Okay.
You would be richer, right? But let's come back to the housing matter. The housing matter is that Mr. Burnham built homes for people.
That's true.
And if you
Tocqueville,
travel
Festival
around,
City, Togbo,
if you travel
Israel.
now around the city, you will see that 23 years was wasted and not a single home was built for anybody, the poor of the poorest.
No, Perfect Harmony.
No, they didn't build homes, my brother.
Right.
They gave lands to people. And they didn't create a situation where people can borrow money, because for somebody to borrow money, all of us here know you have to have some kind of security. You have
That's
to have
right,
some
that's right.
collateral
Yes,
Collateral.
yeah, correct.
to be able to go and borrow money. from
That's
somebody.
right, that's true, that's
So, giving the house lands. Look, the house. Oh, look, Mr. Gill. I mean, he knows better than I do because he was chairman of the housing committee. So maybe he'll talk about
Yeah.
it later on. But they discovered, and as I discovered, Now, there are thousands of house lots there, Mr. Sharma, lying down there for more than 10, 15 years, and no house, or even a stick.
I can give you an example.
anything there,
I
Mr.
got a
Sharma.
friend in
So,
Monrepo.
one
Ah,
second.
there, hold on.
So that is the point. So when Mr. Irfan Ali, who is now under how many charges?
19 and more to come.
Plus more to come. Criticizes this government.
But he get bail.
He has not got.
But he get bail.
Well, oh yes, he has a right to get bail.
Okay.
Because you can't leave the country.
Okay. Okay.
Too big to run?
Too big to run. Too big to run.
Okay.
I won't use the other word.
Okay.
He has not got the moral authority to criticize this government on any single thing. Nothing.
Okay.
Because he has not done as a minister what he's supposed to do.
Okay.
But he
I wrote a piece last night about
Yeah.
what he
Okay.
said.
I hear you got a lot of properties
hold
around
on.
town.
Mr. Green, about the housing situation in Guyana.
Well, we heard from the ministry
Yes.
and the Central Housing Planning
Yes.
Authority that they're on the move.
Okay.
Certainly when I was chairman, I slowed the program down so that we can bring some order and sanity to the whole program.
Okay.
You had contractors who were building houses that people could not occupy, people being allocated lands that they could not use. It was an overambitious, nonsensical program which we met from the PPP.
Yeah.
And there is a myth or a misunderstanding about housing. If you give a man a plot of land in region XYZ, but there are no roads, there's no drainage, no playgrounds, no electricity, no water, it is useless. And this is what the PP tried to do for propaganda purposes.
Yes.
So that I visited people and they were in tears, they had to buy water.
Okay.
I met a lady who had just delivered her child, and it was horrors. No lights, no drains, and it's like putting somebody to live in squalor. And that's what they did. What this new government has attempted to do is to straighten that out. It takes time, it takes money. On East Bank, they destroyed all of the existing flora and fauna.
Okay.
They built houses without, and I spoke to the engineer and asked him, how could you, as a professional engineer, allow your government, the engineer at the time,
Yes.
to build houses on what was estate Pegas land without doing a soil test?
That's right. That.
So we had houses leaning. There's a house one here, and the step is somewhere else.
Okay.
That's what we met in 2015.
What?
That has been corrected, and well, not all,
Yeah.
but the work started.
Yeah.
And I repeat, it's a myth to give a man a land when there's no infrastructure.
Okay.
You know, it's
May I ask a
When you
question?
don't have the security.
Bob,
you can
you're on the
figure it out.
hello, hold the line, please. You got hello, Carter, hello.
Yes, Mr. Sharma and everybody, good afternoon.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Mr. Green, a few weeks ago I called you in connection with Prashad Nagar, and I told you that the parking of the American school, and nobody seems to do nothing about the situation. And this is getting worse and worse every day. That's one. Second, no government give away land. You have to get your money to buy your land. And when you buy your land, you can't even afford to build your house because...
Okay, that's true.
I beg your pardon?
Yes, good. That's true.
Right. You can't afford to build your house. You know, when
Yes,
people
yes.
buy land, low-income land,
Yeah.
and they get it parked for years,
Yeah.
they can't get the money.
Okay.
And I fed up hearing Guyanese people, Indian and Negro people saying, oh, Bornum this and Jagan this. Now, if Bornum and Jagan was alive, these things would have never been going on with these two parties going on with.
That's true. That's true.
You hear? So none of them could put their foot in none of them shoes.
Okay.
And our next thing, we need to realize that Guyana is coming to a dark country now. It's getting worse and worse every day. Look, last week I was in a certain supermarket, and there was a woman hungry. She has her kids at home, hungry. The woman went in the supermarket and shoplift. The security holder get the manager call the police. I tell them, please don't lock her up. And I question her, and she started crying. And I tell them, give her a chance. I would pay for the stuff, and let her take more stuff. Poverty is on the
That's
Very
increase.
good. Very good. Very
You
good.
hear?
Poverty,
Government-
poverty and increase. Poverty and increase.
It's
And
getting
increase.
worse and worse,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we need to see what's going on now. This government going forward, the raise more tax and all of these things, and yet still we suffering.
Okay.
We suffering.
Okay.
So, Mr. Green, in connection with that parking in front of the American school, it seems to me that these people coming from America and all over, they could come and park on the road, double park, and they never park the engine on the block of the whole road.
Well, let me interrupt you. I raised the question of the traffic chief. I was out of the jurisdiction, but I did raise it with him and pointed out the concerns expressed on this program.
Yeah.
And I will do so again.
Okay.
Nothing seems to be happening.
Well, he said he would look at it. I spoke to him personally.
Okay, and again,
If you remind me on Monday morning to take the matter up again.
Okay, the Rasta guy on my right,
Yes.
Your left.
Yes.
It's very sad to know, but believe you me, this government fool y'all. They will not legalize ganja.
Okay.
They
Why?
will not. But y'all don't worry, election again coming 2020. And by 2019, 2020, they're going to tell y'all they're going to legalize it. But just to get back y'all vote.
Okay.
Y'all guys got to be very stupid.
Okay.
Put this government back in power because let me tell y'all something. This government is running by ex-military. Look at Jordan. Jordan know anything but finance. He's a military man. But finance. You know how many of them this government, this president take from who's ex-military and give them position, and the young people coming out of university cannot have a proper decent job and a decent salary and the work. These same people he bring him back and give them position. And when he was in government, he talk of the government getting, the government paying the ministers them how much thousands of dollars, and they go into power a month after and get me the same money and protest 1 month later for raise the salary 50,000, 50% more they have been getting. And this government opened new ministry, I guess it's to give their friends job. And then put in minister within the ministry. And I guess the guy getting their money. So how paying all these people?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Good.
Mr. Greenwood, the John was a military.
Let's go one thing at a time.
Yes.
It is public. It was published. I sent a letter off to the relevant agencies on discussion of marijuana.
Yes.
I said, one, I found that there were 30 countries, including Australia, Canada, Chile, and others, that have decriminalized marijuana.
Okay.
Uruguay.
Two, I pointed out in a letter, I spoke to the Attorney General up to Saturday about it, that we should get off of our hind legs and get this matter over with. Because earlier, I myself had a problem with marijuana.
Okay.
But on careful review, on speaking to some of my own relatives, it is something that we need to look at very carefully. The residual argument against marijuana is that it can be addictive.
Okay.
I made this in my letter, which I don't know if you saw a copy of it.
Saw it. I have a copy of it.
That if that is the case, we should ban all alcohol. Because I've seen people who are rational, are well-behaved, a complete change, complete metamorphosis in their personality and behavior after they take liquor.
Okay.
So that could not be an argument against marijuana.
Yeah.
And the fact that Australia is now predicting a $2 billion industry.
And Canada.
And we should not, I said in my letter, don't let us waste time. And I propose to take it up again with the relevant authorities so that I believe there is sufficient push to settle this question of marijuana.
Very good.
The other issue raised by the gentleman is always a contentious one. You have to find a middle road. You can't pay ministers salaries that will tempt them to do wrong things. And that was the rationale for increasing salaries. It is better to do that, and they are like Caesar's wife, above reproach, than allow ministers, as we saw in the last administration, go into all kinds of skullduggery and rascality and corruption. Contracts, the first big one was the Stanleyton Wharf, a $40 million contract. When you check it, is $9 million. so that a lot has to do with
But
personality.
what you was doing during that time? You were investigated. Was you were the chief? But you was the mayor at that time. At that time, mayor.
No, he had nothing. He was not in government.
Well, I couldn't do much then.
Yeah.
He wasn't in government.
I was frustrated.
Okay.
The government appointed as town clerk people who were not qualified,
Okay.
and then gave that town clerk enormous power,
Okay.
so that the councillors and the mayor really meant nothing.
Okay.
It was at the behest
Okay.
of a town clerk appointed
Okay.
by the PPP,
Okay.
and that must not
Okay.
be forgotten.
Corey, hello.
Good afternoon, dear Mr. Sharma.
Good afternoon.
Entertain that person that just now actually say that the Honorable Minister of Finance is an ex-soldier.
No, we're going to answer
No,
that.
no, hold on.
That same man write Jack Deere speech more than one time when he was the finance minister.
Very true, very true.
That same man
That's
Jack Deere for
Correct.
umpteen years. I think no longer than the person that just now called.
Okay.
He's so stupid and illiterate, he got taking ears out of PVP Bati.
Oh, thank you very much.
Let me say,
I can answer melody.
there's been this talk about the military.
Yeah,
people.
yes.
In our social milieu,
Yes.
the fact of the matter is that the military officers
Oh,
were well trained.
Very true.
They were
Skilled.
educated young men. They didn't come off the street.
yes.
They all had
Skill.
good secondary skills and education. And in fact, when the cadetship scheme was started, the best of people were sent to be police officers and military officers. The Norman Cleans, the Cecil Glasgow's,
Lewis.
the whole lot of Larry Lewis, a whole lot of them.
Okay.
Our present president, Joe Singh, came back. Joe Singh and the Granger came back a few days before independence.
Okay.
I remember because I was part of that thing.
Yes.
Those are brilliant people.
Yeah.
And to deny them an opportunity to
Yeah.
work in government is wrong.
Yeah.
When I was chairman of Central Housing Plan Authority, we had about 7 applications for chief executive officer. We examined them dispassionately, Indo-Guyanese, Afro-Guyanese, Douglas the Guyanese. And at the end of the day, after interviewing them, it was clear that Leland Saul was the best pick. An ex
Who is that? Leland?
Saul.
Leland Saw, my cousin actually,
Is your cousin?
Well,
from
Yeah.
Belladrum.
Okay. Okay.
well, the Sauls were
Yeah. Yeah.
Are related.
good tribe. And he was the best of the lot,
He was ex-
by far.
Yeah.
He was ex-military.
So the fact that he was a military officer is completely irrelevant.
Colonel, ex-colonel.
And secondly, every country in the West and East, when they're faced with a crisis,
Yeah.
turn to the military to give political guidance.
Okay.
General MacArthur, Eisenhower became president of the United States when they had problems. J.F. Kennedy, though not a big military man,
Yeah.
was a military
He was a
person.
military person.
Okay.
And they always look to people with military skills because you assume a certain amount of discipline,
Discipline.
and orderliness, which a country needs
Okay.
very, very badly.
Okay. Basically, you
Well,
all
you
man in the system. Can remember people was charged with treason in this country, you know about treason. Please, please, do that. Give some facts.
Some are present.
Yeah. Yes. He was one.
I wonder.
Yes, yes.
Treason is a serious
Yeah, yes.
charge.
Yeah.
He should not be on the books.
Yes.
I don't agree with you, except that the
Who you gonna call
the
go charge
great,
treason?
the great philosopher said, treason never prospers.
Okay.
For when it does, who dare call it treason?
Yes.
If you look at the revolutions, including the American Revolution, all those chaps technically
Yes.
can be accused of some form of treason.
Treason.
But once you got into office, it's no longer treason.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's true.
Mandela was tried for treason. Sent in jail and then
I don't know what the charge was, but he was put in prison.
Yeah, put in prison.
And with the Mau Mau, Jomo Kenyatta,
Yes.
all those fellas fought against a system that they found rapacious and unacceptable to ordinary people. And you may call them traitors on one hand,
Yes.
but some of them were revolutionaries.
Okay.
Muhammad, Lord Jesus Christ was crucified. He was considered a traitor to the Jewish bureaucracy. So it's a ticklish question. A lot has to do with what is taking place.
Okay. Call your ear. Hello. Hello.
Yes. Good
Yeah.
morning, Sam.
Yeah, good man. Yes.
We need to give
Good
those
afternoon.
young men those military skills so they could be organized, you know.
Yes.
That's why the national service, I said from the beginning, should have been brought in,
Yes.
right? We need to give the young men the military skills. And for black people, there'll be no duty among black people until black people get back on military
Okay.
discipline.
Okay.
And one more thing, concerning the marijuana. I had called a time when you told me, I told you I gave Mr. Granger 2 DVDs in 2016 on medical marijuana. You told me bring them. I did pass the day and I gave Mr. Sankey, he had just come down from your program. I gave him two
Sanky will deal with it. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
We're going to ask Mr. Sankey. I
Oh,
gave him
I got ask Sankey. I got ask
DVDs on
Sankey.
medical marijuana.
Yeah, yes.
I never see you play them.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Call it. Hello. Hello.
Mr. Sharma,
Yes.
I'm appealing to this nation
Yes.
to give you a chance,
Yeah.
You have a wealth of experience around you.
Yeah.
And I'm begging this nation to give you a chance. They never did.
Yeah.
And I'm begging them to give you a chance. You don't need no money. You got money. You blessed money. Mr. Green don't need no money. He blessed money. Son, I don't really need money. Mr. Rama don't need no money. Listen to what I'm saying.
I need lots of money so I could help other people.
These people, you got to run you right now. This nation, I am appealing to this nation
Yeah.
to give you a chance.
Yeah.
And either is a lose or a win.
Yeah.
They give two parties chances already, and still there is nothing going on. Give you a chance. Let them give you. I'm appealing to the nation. I'm begging them. Give you a chance. If you don't perform, it's done.
Yes.
If you perform, it's better.
Okay.
Just give you a chance. Because you've been doing, you get beat up, all the percents beat you. Well, look at the percents, don't let it call it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes, the beat you,
Yes.
so you, the lock you up, the
Yes.
this, the
Yes.
dog.
Yes.
You like a Gandhi,
Yes. Yes. Man.
you know.
Yes.
Give them, and I hear now,
Yes.
I hear you talk all day about giving pension, or if you get in, a manifesto got 60 years of age.
Yeah. 60.
Old age pension.
Yeah.
That is very good.
Good.
I will join your party. I
Yeah.
don't vote you. I swear from a children head.
Yeah.
I started over national television. I don't vote for you. And I would even come and join the party and rally with you.
Okay.
Because look the amount of voters that you will have given people who live in 60.
Yes.
And legalizing ganja, because he said his party will legalize ganja.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the bottom line, you have a wealth,
Okay.
you have a wealth of experience about you.
Yes.
And Mr. Green is a platform.
Yes.
Mr. Green is a platform.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're right.
Oh, you're
Justice for
disagreeing.
All party is the
Yeah.
only party that is sanctioning marijuana and defending marijuana.
Mr. Green, just
And
because-
the young people like that.
Leon, you're just going to support him, Mr. Green.
What's that?
You're just going to support him, Mr.
Yeah,
Green.
No,
Mr.
Mr.
Green,
Green,
Mr. Green,
is an
my
elder
advisor.
statesman. He's the elder statesman
you
of
may,
Guyana
yes,
right now.
yes.
Mr. Green is the elder statesman
yeah,
of Guyana
yeah.
right now. And highly respected.
Cardi,
and
honey,
all
hello,
people in the
hello.
ground love him.
Mr. Sharma again.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
with all due respect, you're talking BS.
Yeah.
Because first of all, we cannot put America with Guyana. That's the first thing. Second of all, you hear?
Yes.
Hey, you say Mr. Green is saying that you have to pay the ministers like before because you don't want them to thief. So what happened to the public servants? You putting them for thief? Huh? You putting them for thief?
Lord.
The same government.
I'll ask you, Mr. Green, to answer the question.
Hold on. The
Yeah.
same government went criticizing the PUP's salary. You go for get a job, nobody tell Pastor Williams and the rest of the ministers them take this job. You fight for the job and you get it.
Okay.
Except when you get money already.
Okay.
So when you talk to Mr. Green, you know what's your problem? You have old PNC, so you know what the military used to do in born of time.
Okay.
Rig election, carrying the ballot box at home, and
Okay.
vote. I don't know what you used to do.
Okay.
But I get in disrespect for you now.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you
No
very much.
disrespect
Yeah,
needed.
yes.
Cut you off.
You can't get disrespect.
You can't get disrespectful to nobody.
Yeah, dear, please go ahead, please.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Um,
You gotta be a big heart, yes.
Respect you.
Yeah.
They all want the
Yeah.
country to do something for them. What they're doing for this country? What are they doing? What are they subscribing?
You don't see what they're doing? You don't see what they're doing? You don't see what they're doing?
They're stacking.
No, me talk, no, man. There are a lot of things that are done already.
Producers are developing something.
Yes, yes.
Then developing nothing. All they want is the government to do for them. They
Okay.
weren't doing nothing for the country.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Good.
Call you, hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, yes.
I listened to Mr. Green just now
Yes.
in defense. Well, he always in a defensive mode, you know. Defending the ministers there for taking that big salary increase and say they're doing a good job.
Yes.
Well, police are at 30% increase in gun robbery in Berbice, according to today's report. And we have an honorable minister of public security, you know, Mr. Ramjatan, you know, a very good hard-working man.
Yes,
and
yes.
crime is climbing in
Yes.
the country.
Yes.
Okay, so our ministers are working, man. They need more money. Give
Yeah.
them more money.
Yes.
Fill all the old vacancies with old military men. Militarize the country. Have
Yes.
no program for youths.
Okay.
But this is not 2020 when they will rig the elections. This is not 2020,
Okay.
right? So be careful. No
Thank-
plan to rig 2020.
Okay.
The truth be revealed.
Okay.
Really won the elections in 2020, right?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Don't be there in defensive mode.
Okay.
Watch what the mayor did and with the COI, millions of dollars stealing out from what the COI report. And
Okay.
they always be there in Sharma,
Okay.
be on defensive mode.
Okay.
Talk the truth. Talk
Alright.
the truth. What you did when you were mayor. You got alone have a 10 security with you. What y'all doing with taxpayers' money, man? Huh?
Thank you very much.
Good.
Thank you. Yeah. What do you respond?
Well, you'll always have the irresponsible
Yes,
grumblers,
that's right.
like my friend.
Okay.
It's part of the freedom of speech.
Yes.
He's free to say what he's just
That's
said.
right.
The people will judge. I think he's
And I'm probably judge.
I think he's being nonsensical. People forget that in 1961, I contested the elections in this country.
Yes, right.
In the Houston
Yes,
constituency.
you know that.
People forget that it was a PP government in office then.
Yes.
People forget that the High Court judge determined that the election was fraudulent and ordered a by-election. The PP government refused to hold a by-election.
Okay.
And I am a victim of that crassness. So the person who called in obviously is unaware of his history or is just determined to be abusive. I've got thick shoulders, and it doesn't really matter. People will know what I've done. And
I got thick skin too. I got thick skin.
Exactly.
What is your
We beyond that.
closing remarks?
My closing remarks
Yes,
is this.
Yes.
As I keep saying to my people, loyalty before royalty. You gotta hold tight. You gotta band your belly and go through. Yeah, the ship might be rocking and shaking a little bit, but you gotta be resolute. Not because the branch leaning, you're gonna jump off the limb. Meaning that, brethren and sisters on the ground, do what you gotta do to save yourself. Meaning self-reliance is a must. Just don't depend on the government alone. Depend upon yourself, your family, your neighbors, your community. Do something to help yourself.
Okay. Rahman, your closing remarks?
I agree with what Leon
Yeah,
said.
yes.
We go around the country and people
Yeah.
are dependent on
Yeah.
somebody to do something
Yeah.
for
Men
them.
they can see they want a handout.
Self-help should be the philosophy
Self-help.
that should come back to us.
That's
And if we are engaged in building the country, we must clean our front yard,
Prepare the
gutters and
fix
so
the road
on.
in front of you.
Exactly. No, these small things we don't need the government to do. We can avoid having this kind of thing. We must put, as the president said, put those who are elected under pressure. Put the fire under their feet,
Yeah.
because they're elected. Make them accountable.
Is it
If
slow
you-
fire, more fire, hot fire?
No.
No, no.
If-
Another kind of fire.
no.
no.
You put fire on them because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
elected, they're
Yes,
accountable,
yes.
and if they can't, they cannot perform out.
Out.
Okay.
Simple.
Mr. Green, your closing remarks, please.
Well, the PNC's General Council
Yes.
issued a call
Yes.
for all leaders at all
Yes,
levels,
yes.
at the regional level, the group level, the district level, to do more so that we'll maintain a heavier intercourse with the people so they'll understand what we're doing. The party's PR has been very poor. There are things that the government is doing that people don't know,
Okay.
and therefore they highlight the negatives.
Yes.
And so I will call upon young people in particular to understand that they are the new breed
Okay.
take over.
Future.
They have been marginalized for 23 years. People forget we've had 23 years of hemorrhage in this country.
Yeah.
When corruption was seen as the right thing to do, right or wrong, correct.
Yeah.
And you can't correct that in a few years. And the president has been a very decent man. Some people feel he's too decent
Oh.
to deal with the origin stables that need to be cleaned.
Okay.
And this is a massive task. You've got to get the churches, the temples, the mosques involved
Okay.
in reconfiguring the minds of young people
Okay.
who grew up in an environment that wrong became right.
That's right.
And it's a massive task. Your program is open to the public, and I hope that people would listen,
Yes.
even for those dissidents who want to talk
Yeah.
and make irresponsible statements.
How the President Granger? He feeling so now? How about ending?
I'm not the Minister of Health,
Okay.
but I know he's left
Well,
to go for further treatment,
yes.
and our prayers are with him.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Rahman, time for coming. Mr. Green, time for coming.
Everything is in the hands of the Almighty.
Aye.
Amen Ra.
Have a nice day. God bless you all.
Shalom.
Bye.